You've seen it, haven't you? That little halal logo plastered on your cornflakes, your bread, even your flipping bottled water. It's everywhere, and it's got a lot of us asking, what's the deal with this? Are we being forced to bend to someone else's rules? Is this about freedom, faith, or just straight-up cash? Today, we're unpacking the storm around halal certification in South Africa, the impact on your wallet, your choices, and whether this is a sneaky cultural takeover. And let me tell you, mate, there's plenty to be livid about, especially when you see how the ANC's incompetence and corruption have let this fester. So, sit tight and let's get stuck in. You're not going to want to miss this. Let's start with the numbers. According to Stats SA's 2016 figures, South Africa's got about 892,685 Muslims, roughly 1.6% of the population. Compare that to 43.4 million Christians, 5.9 million with no religious affiliation, and a smattering of Hindus, Jews, and others. Yet somehow, up to 90% of food products on our shelves are halal certified. 90%! Can you believe that? You're picking up a loaf of bread or a packet of biltong, and there it is, that little crescent moon staring at you. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Muslims following their dietary laws. Good for them, live and let live. But when 9 out of 10 products in my trolley are halal, and I'm not a Muslim, or just someone who doesn't vibe with that, where's my choice? Where's the freedom we're supposed to have in this so-called rainbow nation? This is where it gets proper dodgy. The halal industry in South Africa is worth a staggering 45 billion rands, according to the South African National Halal Authority. That's not pocket change, brew. And who's footing the bill? You and me, that's who. Every time you buy a halal certified product, you're indirectly paying a fee to certification bodies, like the South African National Halal Authority, SANHA, or the Muslim Judicial Council. Some folks reckon this is a hidden tax, a way to funnel money to certain communities while the rest of us are left with no say. A Christian from Kruger in the Eastern Cape put it bluntly in a letter to the Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Rights Commission. We view this as an unfair practice based on religious beliefs. And he's not alone. The Commission has been flooded with complaints from Christians who feel they're being strong-armed into funding a religion that's not theirs. One bloke from Riversdale said, "They don't give us a choice. As a Christian believer, I'm forced to buy products from a culture group that makes up only 2.6% of our population." That's the kind of frustration that makes you want to chuck your shopping basket and storm out of the supermarket. Now, let's talk about the ANC, because oh boy, do they have a hand in this mess. This is the same government that's been promising us a better life for all since 1994, yet here we are, drowning in crime, corruption, and crumbling infrastructure. The same lot who can't keep the lights on or stop the potholes from swallowing our cars whole are apparently too busy to notice that 90% of our food is certified to meet the needs of just about 2% of the population. Where's the oversight? Where's the Consumer Protection Act that's supposed to shield us from discriminatory marketing? It's like the ANC's too busy looting state coffers to care about what's happening in our supermarkets. And don't get me started on the food fraud scandals. Remember the Orion saga where halal meat was mislabeled? That's not just a slip-up, that's a betrayal of trust, and it hits hardest for those who rely on these certifications for religious reasons. The ANC's failure to enforce proper labeling laws means we're all getting shafted, whether you're Muslim, Christian, or just trying to eat a burger without drama. So, what's the real issue here? Is it just about food, or is there something bigger at play? Some South Africans, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this, feel like halal certification is a form of cultural and religious imposition. A complainant from Bruma in Joburg wrote to the CRL saying, "Islam is overtly and actively anti-Christian. It's deeply offensive to be forced to support a religion that's fundamentally opposed to my own." Harsh words, sure, but they echo a sentiment you'll find on social media posts, where users like Ameminaim are calling it colonization of South Africa and imposing Sharia laws. Now, I'm not saying I agree with the heat in those words, but you can't ignore the raw anger out there. People feel their freedom of choice is being trampled, and when you're already dealing with a government that's fleecing you at every turn, that's a bitter pill to swallow. Are we really free if we can't choose what's in our food without indirectly funding someone else's beliefs? Here's a question for you, mate. When was the last time you checked the label on your groceries? Go on, have a look next time you're in Checkers or Woolies or even Pick n Pay. Count how many products have that halal logo. It's everywhere, right? And here's the kicker, even bottled water is getting certified now. Bottled water. What's next? Certifying the air we breathe. The absurdity of it would be funny if it wasn't so infuriating. And don't let anyone tell you this doesn't affect the cost. While Pick n Pay claims certification costs are negligible and not passed on to customers, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that businesses don't eat those costs themselves. They're baked into the price. And with food inflation already hitting us where it hurts, that's another reason to be cheesed off. But let's not just point fingers without looking at the other side. Halal certification isn't just about religion. It's big business. South Africa is a global leader in halal exports, with our producers eyeing markets in Asia and the Middle East, where the Muslim population is set to hit 2.2 billion by 2030. That's a massive opportunity for jobs and economic growth, and I get it. Business is business. The Western Cape government's even planning a $67 million halal food processing park to cash in on this. Fair enough. But why does it feel like the needs of a tiny minority are dictating the market for the rest of us? And why is it that the ANC, with its track record of mismanagement, can't ensure there's a balance? Why aren't there non-halal options readily available for those who want them? It's not about hating on anyone's faith, it's about fairness, transparency, and not being forced to play by rules you didn't sign up for. What's worse is the silence from the powers that be. The CRL Commission's been getting these complaints since at least 2018, yet where's the action? Where's the public debate? It's like the ANC's too scared to touch this issue, or maybe they're just too busy dodging accountability for their latest scandal. Either way, it's a slap in the face to every South African who just wants to buy groceries without feeling like they're being manipulated. And don't even get me started on the lack of proper labeling laws. South Africa doesn't have official regulations for halal, kosher, or even organic products. That's right, anyone can slap a logo on and call it a day, and the ANC's done sweet nothing to fix it. So, what can we do about this? First off, we need to start asking hard questions. Why are we subsidizing a system that serves a fraction of the population while the rest of us get no choice? Why isn't the government cracking down on food fraud and mislabeling? And why, in a country that's supposed to champion freedom, are we letting a minority's dietary preferences dominate our shelves? I'm not saying halal certification shouldn't exist. Muslims have every right to their beliefs, but the rest of us deserve options too. It's time to demand transparency, proper regulation, and a government that actually gives a toss about its people. Look, South Africa's got enough problems without this adding to the pile. We're dealing with load shedding, sky-high crime rates, and a government that's more interested in lining its pockets than serving its people. The halal issue isn't just about food, it's about choice, fairness, and whether we're still a country that values freedom. So stick with me here, because we're not done yet. The more we dig into this, the more you'll see how it's all connected to the bigger mess the ANC's left us in. And trust me, it's a mess that's got no business being ignored. Right, here's the deal. If you're as fed up as I am, don't just sit there fuming. Join the channel membership to keep this kind of content coming, because we're not stopping here. Hit that super thanks button if you can, or let the ads play for at least 30 seconds to support the cause. It costs you nothing to subscribe, like, share, and drop a comment, so go on, do it now. Tell me what you think. Have you noticed the halal takeover in your local shops? Are you feeling the pinch in your pocket? Let's get this out in the open and hold the powers that be accountable. South Africa deserves better, and it starts with us.